You have a lecture?
Yeah.
Or close the door?
Yeah.
Don't come.
Ask now, to give me some the glass bottle of
Don't come.
Uh, Good afternoon, guys. And see, today we'll be critically looking at a part of that day in a where we left. That is on the theories of motivation. In your particular syllabus, we are touching like what we discussed that day. There are two sets of theories we are talking about on the motivational theories. That is content theory of motivation and the process theory of motivation. On the content side of the content theories talks about what factors motivates people, and the process theory talks about how people are getting motivated. So there are two unique ways of looking at people motivation. On the one side, what factors, on the how it is going to motivate the people. So these are the two big in areas what we are looking at, right? On this, on the content side of theories, we will learn four theories. That is Maslow's needs of hierarchy, Herzberg's motivation and hygiene theory, or we call it the two-factor theory, McLaren's need theory, and Alderfer's ERG theory. Then on the process theories, we talk about Bloom's expectancy theory, Adams' equity theory, and goal setting in a theory we'll be talking about. And also reinforcement theory. So totally there are four theories on each side that we'll be typically talking about. Now I have explained to you that is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But again, when I say Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I explained that day, there are five stages. What Maslow's talks about is a person moves through these five stages irrespective of their age or anything. That is based on their need. It starts with the physiological needs. Just a person who starts to work, right? He initially what they want in their lives. What they want is the housing, clothing, food. These are the basic needs. These are the things what we call the physiological needs. So people work towards, or their motivation is towards achieving that they want to get it. Once they achieve it, they go to the safety level. Then they want the safety, that is security. You may need little bit of money in your bank, right? Are they saying in Monari what I'm going to do and things like that is not going to be there. That is what they'll be looking at, right? Then at the third stage, what they are looking at is love and belonging. That means that they want to be part of some sort of a group, friends, relationship, marrying, and things like that, right? They need that type of motivation, or their motivation is looking for that type of needs. Once they achieve that, they move into that esteem need. This is the time that the people need prestige. They want the respect from others. This is why they go and become a member of a club, and things like that happens at that particular stage. So what happens is, um, then once they achieve that esteem needs, then they critically look at the self actualization need. In the self actualization, they have achieved everything in their life in terms of their career, in terms of their money, in terms of whatnot. They will be looking like that going and advising people. They want to be in a big chairman of the president of a club, and things like that. They will look like something like that. So what the Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks about is each and every person has a need at a particular time, and they work to achieve that. Now how it is going to apply in an organization? The person who needs the physiological needs, which is in the bottom of that particular pyramid, right? If you look at what they really want is money, basically, right? You are going to talk to them and say, right now, if you achieve this, I'm going to give a ticket for you to go to Thailand and come. They are not interested. They are not interested in going to Thailand because their basic need at the moment is money, food, clothing, housing, and things like that. So they'll be working only towards that. What ideally motivates them is that type of activity. Now you can't go and tell the person who is in the esteem need, where they need that respect and all those things, right? You can't go and tell them you're looking at that we are going to give you 1,000 rupee incentive or 10,000 rupees incentive. If you go and tell them, right, now that type of people that now I'm going to give you a club membership, they will much more respect that type of thing. This is where this Maslow's hierarchy of needs is used in organization, identifying in which need area in the which need the level is in out of these five, and dividing or deciding defining your motivational incentives or reward schemes based on that, right? That is how it happens. Now the second one we talk about in the content theory model is the Herzberg's two-factor theory. This is we talk about Herzberg's theory or is two-factor theories, or sometimes we call it motivators and hygiene theory. Now he talks about Herzberg's theory is because somebody is dissatisfied, when you motivate them, they are not going to be. If somebody is dissatisfied, first they will move from a dissatisfied state to a level of not dissatisfied, but also not motivated. So it's kind of a neutral stage. Dissatisfied, but you are moving in them to a not dissatisfied stage, but it's not a motivation stage. From that particular neutral stage, you work towards to make them satisfied and motivated stage. So they talk about three stages. The first stage is dissatisfied. Second stage is not dissatisfied but not motivated also. The third stage is motivated. So for people to move from dissatisfied stage to not dissatisfied stage, you use hygiene factors. From dissatisfied non-motivation stage to motivation stage, you use motivational factors. So what they talk about, the factors are divided into two groups. One set of things are known as motivating factors. Other set of elements are called as um, hygiene factors. The hygiene factors we talk about company policies, quality of supervision, relationship with others, rate of pay, job security, etc., etc. Will be good to have hygiene factors. All those things are there. Because of all those things are there, people are not motivated, but they are not motivated, but they are not dissatisfied also. Now, motivating factors becomes an achievement, career advancement, personal growth. That means your career wise you're growing, your knowledge is growing, and job interest. You are very much interested in the job. You like the job, what you do. Recognition that people recognize for the job or the position what you are holding, and the responsibility what you are holding. All those things becomes actually motivating factors. Now, those factors are the things will take you from a non-motivation, non-dissatisfied area to motivational area. So here they talk about three different areas. Now, so the three different areas needs two different factors to move you from dissatisfied area to a motivational area. That is what Erzberg two-factor theory talks about. How it is going to applied in organizations? You can't. What they say is you can't just motivate people because you have been given a particular say, because the environment is very good, your company policies are very good, people are not going to be motivated, but they believe those are good things. So for an organization to get people motivated, they have to create that particular environment for them to be not dissatisfied first. Then you come out create that create is particular job more interesting for you, give them a personal growth and responsibility recognition is in this particular job. That will motivate them to perform much better. So that is how it is applied in organizations. The third one they talk about, the third theory talks about McClellan's need theory of motivation. Now here he talks about there are three needs for a person: need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. So the individual specific needs are acquired over a period of time. That is because of their life experience. Most of the needs what a person has in his life can put into three areas: achievement, affiliation, or power. So they talk about whatever the age you are in, whatever the job you do, whatever the level you are in. They talk about the people at any given time in his life and it looks for three things. One is achievement, one is power, and what is affiliation. Now the affiliation talks about um, say that is love and need, belonging, and things like that. Power is the authority, what they have. How much power, the things to do on your own in an organizational sense, how much power you have to make decisions in life in general, that they talk about how much things you can be on your own, taking decisions on your own. So those are the things you talk about. Need for power, need for achievement is what I'm supposed to do, what is my next step, where do I go want to go, what I'm setting my eyes in this year or next year or in another 5 years time, what I have to achieve. So these are the needs what they talk about will help them to motivate. Those are the motivating factors. What McClellan's theory talks about, that is what we call it, McClellan's needs theory. Now, the next one, the fourth one in the content theory, is about Alderfer's ERG theory. The ERG talks about existence, relatedness, and growth. Um, he did not see that's a hierarchy. He sees that is continuously happening in the sense existence means at the lowest level the need is to stay alive and safe, right? For anyone right now without any particular problem, I want to live and I want to be alive, I want to live in a safe. So we feel physically safe and have as the existence needs. We feel safe and physically comfortable. Actually you can, this is the way the existence I just want to be. But when I'm not I want to be like this. I want to eat, drink, and live. That is the existence need. Then we talk about the relatedness. At the next level, you talk about once you are safe and secure, we look at our social needs. When you talk about social needs, we are now interested in relationship. We want be with people, other people. When we are related, we feel sense of identity. Right now, we belongingness to something, to the society. So this is the second level what they talk about. Then they talk about the growth need of growth. At the highest level, we seek growth, be creative for ourselves and for our environment. So there, what I want to achieve in my life, in career wise, what I want to achieve, all those things will come in the growth need. So when you are looking at these all four theories, that is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When we talk about McClelland's the theory of needs, Alderfer's ERG theory, or when you talk about Herzberg's two-factor theories, all talks about absolutely on by what people are going to be motivated. This typically talks about how people are going to be motivated. Now, from here, we are moving into process theories. In the process theory, we are going to look at four areas. Let's now look at Bloom's expectancy theory. How the process theory talks about By what is not the question, but how they are going to be motivated. Now, Fromm's theory talks about effort, performance, and outcome. That means your mental process works based on the outcome you are going to get. If the value of the result is higher, the intensity of your effort is high. You put more efforts when the outcome is much better. In the sense, if the outcome, the incentive what you're going to get is say about 10,000 rupees, you don't put more effort. But the incentive what you're going to get is about 100,000 rupees, then you try to put more efforts. This is what simply the Bloom's expectancy theory talks about. It proposes that individuals decide to act in a certain way because they are motivated to select the behavior over the other behaviors based on the value of the result or the expectation of that particular result. So, why people are getting motivated? Broom talks about it's because of the value of results. That is how he talks about. Then, when we look at the next one, when we look at Adams' equity theory, equity theory talks about how people are going to get motivated is not because the size of the results, but whether it is fair or not fair. That means he looks at fairness and unfairness. How much another person is getting, how much I'm going to get. The input what I'm going to put here and what is the output I'm going to get. And whether another person is putting the same input, how much they are going to get. So when they see that unfairness in it within the organization, or when you compare that with another organization, they decide to put that input or not. In simple terms, what they talk, in what they talk about is what they really, what they mean is what they really mean is the person's motivation is based on what considers to be fair when compared to others. We call it equity theory focuses on an employee work compensation relationship. We call it the exchange relationship. Am I getting the right output for my input? When organizations are not biased, that works. In these type of situations, the equity theory can be easily understood in organization or situations when the measure or when the incentives or rewards are not fair. This is another way, right? Completely different than how Bloom's theory talks about. It's not about the expectation. It is about what you get for that particular expectation, whether it is fair or not. Right? Then we talk about the next. What we talk about is the goal setting theory. In the goal setting theory, having clearly defined goals is useful for achieving the desired results. So the goal setting is used as a way of improving organizational and personal performance. They talk about if your goals are very clear and it is very specific, and that influences the behavior of the person. What happens when they talk about is these goals can be mastery goals, reflect the desire to gain knowledge and skills. Right now, my goals are that I want to have develop my skills, knowledge, and things like that. So I work towards a particular objective. So I show a particular behavior to satisfy, to achieve my mastery goals. I want to be a better manager, better director, better engineer or better speaker, better student or better academic, anything like that. Performance goals talks about reflect a desire to look competent in others' eyes. That talks about the people have to look at me and say, okay, he's doing quite well. He's achieving that. He has a car. He has a house. Those type of goals, performance goals, will influence my behavior. So the goal setting theory talks about there are the behaviors are formed by in our goals. The goals can be mastery goals, or the goals can be performance goals. Either way, that works for us. That works for that person. Okay, this is what they talk about. Okay, that is what the goal setting theory talks about. Then, in the goal setting in a theory, what you have to understand is, in order to motivate the employees, when you're applying this in an organizational sense, a real organizational sense, the goals has to be clarity of the goals and it should be there. We call it smart objectives, specific, measurable, and all those things with this time bound, right? And a kind of thing. And it should be challenging. Commitment should be there. The persons in a commitment should be there. We should give feedback on them time to time feedback whether he's achieving it or not. And task complexity. It is not easy, or it's not with my understanding. It's not one step and go and achieve it. It put a lot of efforts, lot of planning to achieve that particular goal. So when you are using this in organization sense, a goal setting in a theory, the goal setting in a theory has to take into consideration all these elements when you are setting goals. Now, finally, we talk about the reinforcement theory. Right? The reinforcement theory talks about positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Now, what is positive? I mean, in an organization, say, or in a social sense, we talk about today. Uh, that is a curfew. When you go out, that you are going to get punished. So, if you have a behavior, if you perform, if you show that particular behavior, you are going to get punished. So that is a negative motivator. So you don't do it. Positive motivator is if you do that, that means you are going to be rewarded. You're going to be given some money or incentive or in a good praise. How do you apply that in organization? Now take for instance, the organization has now started implementing a new thing in a sense, health and safety. They say safety is quite important. So when they say that they train all the people in health and safety areas, they say if you see in a particular division, if you see anything which is not up to the mark in terms of safety concerns, that you have to inform. If you don't inform, that there will be a salary cut. Or the sales representatives, we will say when you achieve a particular target, you give them an incentive. That is a positive motivation for a better behavior. Right? If you have that particular behavior and if you achieve that particular thing, you get a incentive. That is a positive motivation. But if we will always say if we don't achieve a particular target, we are going to give a fine. So that means 50 rupees cut from your lunch allowance. There are companies do it. If you don't make so much of bills for a day, if you don't raise so much of invoices for a day, you don't get your lunch allowance. Now that is a negative motivation. So when the reinforcement theory talks about positive reinforcement and a negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement will encourage a particular behavior. Negative reinforcement will discourage a particular behavior. So when you're putting in this into organization, you really look at what is the type of behavior you want, and for that you provide the positive reinforcement, the incentive or whatever it is. And if you don't want a particular behavior in any particular area, you give a negative reinforcement. That now we talk about disincentives or punishments or whatever. Now, guys, these are the things we critically talk about the what do you call on theories, right? On content theories and reinforcement theories, right? Now, when we are talking about all these things, when it comes to the case, you all know that you all are going to be you're going to do assignments. The assignments are based on the first three assignments are based on what do you call it's a 500 word assessment. You'll be given a case. There'll be five questions. For all these five questions, you have to write only 500 words. We have been studied in detail. What does it mean? What does theories mean in a case in a company? So when you're going to write these particular answers, what you have to write is not the theory part of it. You have to write how this is seen or practiced or not practiced, and how it is helping this particular organization. So all your discussions are based on the case study in the entire four assignments. So knowing a particular theory, all these are going to be open book. All these that is fine now, even though you know your theory. If you don't apply that in a particular case, you're going to lose marks. Now, quite I have given you class formative assessment, and some of you all were there on that day, and you all have attempted on those things. And I told you that I have marked that you can, if you want that I can give you that particular comments on that for you to correct yourself and be prepared for assessments. Um, so far, no one has made any attempt to contact me. And last week, on the last session, I told you answer that is on 25th. We had a session like this. I asked you all to prepare everything. I asked you to answer at least two questions again on that particular assessment and send it to me. And so far, no one has sent it. Now, we'll be having a particular class very soon because there are plenty of classes we have because we are limiting these classes to 40 to 45 minutes. So I'm cutting in each and every class into two classes. And most probably by about 29th or 30th, we'll have the next session. And I will want all of you all to send answers for those five questions what I've sent. I'll remind you again, that is a dummy case study. Those questions are based on that case. You have to answer that based on the case. Examples and everything has to come from the case. And also understand, to answer those five questions, you don't need to go through all the materials. You have to study the first two areas what I taught. First two sessions. This is the third session. We are completing the third session today. The questions are not coming from this. Get yourself prepared. We have a, you can treat this particular time as a holiday or whatever it is, but the education is not stopped. It is continue. Will to do very soon. Maybe next week that we'll be starting the assessments online, because that is what we are talking with the universities. That is what some universities already started doing it, and be prepared for that. If there is any particular question, you can call me, and you can contact me over email. Thank you very much, and all the best to you guys.